We are Greatest Killing Video Games by Accolonn. I love his facial expression. It says everything I need to know about this video. Let me just start here. Actually, this it's like this also shows everything I need to know about this video. But he has a pretty good beard, man. That's like, I feel like I would have a similar beard if I ever managed to grow it long, but I doubt I ever would. Like, it doesn't have a beard. He has it like, it doesn't look like someone who has stubble. It looks like he's someone who would just grows hair, kind of like me. I don't have a stubble. Like, if I shave it, I will never have like the 5 p.m. shade. I have 5 p.m. shade 2 weeks after. That's how bad my beard is. Anyways, let's not stop talking about my beard and let's go about how greed is killing video games since 2000 and I want to say 4. When did FIFA start with the cards?
So I don't think you're right. By the way, this
Just clip that. I don't think you're right. I don't think, but you're right. Nothing's going on here. You are right. I'm just kidding. I like Accolonn takes, but it was a very interesting, beginning to the video. I don't think you're right.
isn't something that purely belongs at the door of Blizzard. Blizzard isn't the only company that milks their customers.
Of course not.
Someone said something in one of the comments on my YouTube video.
I would say
where they
overall, as far as average customer goes, Blizzard is the least milking company. One of the, especially for AAA, they're the least milking companies out there, out of the AAAs.
said in capitalism, people are referred to as customers.
Yes.
In corporatism, people are referred to as consumers. Consumers
sure.
is actively dehumanizing because that's what it is. You're viewed not as an individual. You're viewed not as a person, but rather as an asset, a tool that makes money come out of it.
I mean, is it that different for a customer? Is it that different for a patron? I don't think it's that different. I think it's a semantics. Like the terminology, I think it's semantics. It's like some companies will say we love our consumers, right? It's like love our patrons, we love our customers. It's the same thing, I think, overall.
We're basically money pinatas
But
that
you
they
are.
can beat and money falls out of us.
Hell yeah.
This
They
is
don't have
what
to beat, they can ask you
corporatism
for it
leads
too.
to, is the consumer becoming sort of the cash cow, as it were. And you're right. This isn't just Blizzard. This is almost every single game.
I don't want to get into like, because it feels like an argument against capitalism, which again, like, he's not talking capitalism, he's talking corporatism, but it's like corporates like are basically what capitalism strives to, or like more like the end result. When capitalism is not kept in check, corporatism is basically what you get, or monopolies in another way. But I don't really want to go into the subject. Overall, I would say, to an extent, there should be a way to monitor. Well, not a way. There is a way to monitor, but like, it needs to actually be monitored. The capitalist nature of certain companies, and make sure they don't become stuff like that, basically like monsters that abuse their consumers, or something like the way he refers to it.
Company on earth right now, except for
Problem
the
is,
indie companies.
governments run by people, people can be bought, right? So
how sustainable do you guys think this is? Like, how sustainable do you think this business model is? Ain't
very.
World Apart. I think I played that. Cask, I think I've played that. I'm not sure if I still have it though.
You know what? I think that this business model is very sustainable, because clearly people in first world countries are spoiled enough and have enough money to spare to spend money on these commodities, which at the end of the day are worth nothing. If the company just shuts down the game, all the money you spent goes to waste. You have nothing to show for it. So at the same token, so are paintings. You know, it gets scratched and you have to throw it out. You have nothing to show for the amount of for the money you spent getting that painting, right? For example, right? So it's like, it's all like, everything that you buy has an expiration date in a sense. can be damaged or whatever. Um, yeah.
Yeah, I have it. Ain't Zone, A World Apart. I didn't play much of it though. I should probably give it another go. King Julian, I'm surprised because of everything that has happened up until now. I thought there would be a change.
No,
Squid, I'm talking
no,
about the entirety of the gaming industry. So,
no. Well, first of all, you did look at Elden Ring. Elden Ring was successful and sent a pretty good message to developers that what they want and what they don't want. There like in my opinion, what's gonna happen is gonna be a cycle. There's gonna be too much monetization, and then they're gonna reduce it back. It's never gonna be zero, and I don't think it ever was zero technically. Yeah, you had a game you bought and you played it, but that's also like how accessible were games. As soon as like you could download games, in my opinion, that was the end of like monetizing games, right? Anything like, and honestly, here's the thing. When Mario was a thing, it's like, oh, you just buy the game and you play, right? Are you telling me they weren't making dolls and shit like that for Mario? That's also monetizing on the game, right? It's like it doesn't have to add to the game, but adds to the universe, and people like are on it, right? They made TV shows that they made money of, right? It's like they made money off of the universe. They're always going to be monetizing. Now, if we're talking about pay to win mechanics in games, I think that's a bit different. And again, my opinion, pay to win will never ever leave the gaming industry once it was implemented. It's like, no, you introduce some technology to to people without technology, and it's like the technology will never go away. It will only either improve until it destroys itself, or it will improve and people will go back, right? So it's like up and down kind of thing. This works, this doesn't. This works, this doesn't. Yeah.
the model,
As
Alex,
an example, sorry, fucking pause, champ. Let's go. As an example, so here's what I mean. Like when technology, like people will go up and back and forth with technology. So right now, you can see I'm wearing a wireless headphones, right? Now, when it just came out, it was the shit. Everyone was like, "Fuck, man, wireless headphones, Bluetooth, and whatever." Now there's a big movement that's going on of like Bluetooth headphones and how they can affect your brain, cause brain cancer, and all that stuff. I'm not saying it does. I'm not saying it doesn't. But there's a movement. There's research about it now, and a lot of people are going back on the Bluetooth technology, on like wireless technology, and going back to wired technology. Why? Because they don't want these wireless frequencies affecting them personally, their kids, their families, and all that stuff. Is it true? Is it not? I don't know. What's safer though, as a whole, if you don't know? Wires. Like just by default, wires would be safer than non-wires if you don't know anything, right? That's just how it is. So that's what I mean. Like when you can go up in technology and then down. Right now, people are going up in technology for electric cars. If and like sorry, yeah, let's say take electric cars, they go up in technology, everyone's getting an electric car, but there's research now that goes out and says that to manufacture electric cars actually creates more damage to the ecosystem than people driving cars for a long time. Again, probably biased, I don't know, I'm not doing the research, I'm just saying you will always have these fluctuations, and some people who got electric cars now going back to gas cars, right? Now's probably not the best time to do it, but then some people who had gas cars go back to diesel now, right? Stuff like that. It's like you're always gonna have up and down in technology, in people's needs, and I think that's normal. And I think it's gonna be the same for pay to win mechanics. Pay to win mechanics, some will be more egregious, and like whenever people are complaining too much, they're gonna be like, okay, we hear you, here's like a less pay to win game, only pay for cosmetics, and then they're gonna add some more stuff later when people calm down.
how you doing, bro? The model of the gaming industry, the current gaming model that exists, is one that least amount of effort, maximum amount of profit. So whatever we can do to boost the
Yes,
profits,
I
that's what
agree.
we're going to do.
I
The
agree,
current
but this is only a good strategy for short term, which is what is bringing about, which is what basically brought on the downfall of Blizzard. It's these short term gains. They lost a lot of faith from the consumers. and now they have to make amends, and now they have to work harder because they could have like taken it easy and just gave people what they wanted. A nice nice fucking freeze frame. Give people what they wanted, and but instead they were greedy, and that's why they lost 60 million players a month.
Current gaming model around live gaming has also become a huge thing. The live service gaming model, where every single game that used to be good is turned into a live service game instead, because that's where the money is. The money isn't in the old school Assassin's. We literally spoke about old school Assassin's Creed. There's no money there because once you've sold your game and the majority of people have bought the game, the money is done.
Yeah.
There's no more money to be made on the original Assassin's Creed. And while, yes, you do make a shit ton of money, Witcher 3 is a good example of a game that has 0 cash shops, no small DLCs. It has 2 DLCs, which is expansions for the game. It ultimately sold 48 million copies, I believe. 45 to 48 million copies, all in all.
Now imagine, okay, so this is like, so CD Projekt Red, when they made Witcher 3, they're also not greedy, and they made a pretty good game overall. I like Witcher 3 as a whole. I think the story is fantastic, the quests are great, it has everything, it has fun, it has action, a little bit of horror. It has everything, and I think everything about that game is pretty fantastic, aside from it being a bit dated and a bit too easy in my opinion. But imagine they had a cash shop with just cosmetic items. Are you telling me, even if they sold half as many copies, are you telling me they would not make even a bigger profit? They would. They would. Is it? But and no one wants to gamble on, are we gonna sell 48 million copies, 45 million copies? Are we gonna sell that many copies? No one wants to gamble on that, right? So I'd rather guarantee a return on investment.
That's a lot of money, right? I mean, that's a decent amount of money if we do the math here, which is going to be difficult because a lot of those sales were done. Let's do 45 million, right?
Yeah.
So we do 45 million. Now we need to figure out what are we timing this by? Because sometimes the game sold for $60.
25, bro.
Pop. Witcher 3 has also been on many discounts. So what would be the discount can go from $25 to $30? Would you guys agree $40 a pop is a good place to sort of...
I'm pretty sure I bought Witcher for like $15.
Average it at around $40 average per copy sold. I think I'll keep going. They got their hooks in people psychologically. People wouldn't spend thousands on Candy Crush if it wasn't psychologically manipulative. As long as it keeps working, the industry will keep moving in that direction, except for the artists that went to actually produce art. Aaron, I'll answer that in a second. I just quickly want to do this. So let's do 40, right? Let's say 40.
Sure.
So that's
I would say you need to do a range, but yeah.
1.8 billion that CD Projekt Red made on Witcher 3. It's one game. It's 5 years ago. I think we can all agree that's a decent amount of money, right? Decent. How do you fucking cancel this shit now? So if you go for it's 18 million right now. Cyberpunk have sold 18 million. You times that by about 35, you get 630 million. So they've made 2.5 billion over the course of the last 5 years.
No, they didn't. They didn't make that much money. Subtract on the fucking cost to make that game. Subtract advertisement costs. Subtract these are like, voice actors and all that stuff. Subtract all of that. They did not make anywhere near as much money. And here's the thing. Even let's say they made 1 billion, this is 1 billion over how many years? Whereas just WoW alone every year is making like 1 billion. Well, used to. Not anymore, I guess, but maybe even now.
Right, so far. I think we could all agree that's a good amount of money. It's nothing compared to World of Warcraft that makes 2 billion per quarter. Well, Activision Blizzard makes 2 billion per quarter. This is
but that's Activision Blizzard.
Gaming is such a good idea. It makes crap tons of money. But is it sustainable? That's the question. In a perfect world, I guess we could say it is. In a perfect world, you can absolutely sustain and
I'd
keep
say even in
making
a worse, in
crazy,
another
crazy
perfect
amounts
world.
of money, right? In a perfect world. What do you think happens now that interest rates keep rising? People are struggling more and more. I read an article the other day.
Some people are struggling more and more. And in my opinion, the WoW token is a great solution for a lot of people who are struggling, because some people who are not struggling are buying those WoW tokens.
That shows that the middle income families in America is in deep trouble. Debt is spiraling out of control. In South Africa, middle income families, their debt obligations have reached 150%, meaning 60% of their entire income goes towards servicing debt. What do you
Yeah.
think happens to these games that is completely over leveraging the average consumer? Do they still survive in 5 years? If interest rates keep going up, imagine we get to a place where interest rates are 15, 20%. How many people do you think still have money to blow on things like Candy Crush? How many people do you think still have money to buy a new mount of the game?
Plenty. Because the transactions in Candy Crush can be as low as $5. So plenty of people, even people who are in debt, would be like, it's only $5.
Game store? Video game crash in 1983 incoming. People have money to blow on you, so a lot. Alex,
True.
people will always have money to blow on sort of
Exactly.
entertainment, and that is
And that's what Candy Crush is, though. That's the argument.
true. But also remember, when you come to the stream, you pay $5 if you want. You pay $5, and that's it. That's it. That is your contribution to the stream, and you get to experience the entertainment that comes from it.
You get to log into a free game called Candy Crush, and you can play it for free, and that's the internet you get from it. Or you can pay $5 and enjoy even more entertainment for just $5. Then $5 more, and then $5 more, and before you know it, you lost your house because you play Candy Crush. And honestly, wouldn't be the first person, probably. People lost their houses for a lot less.
If my business model was based around, charging you $5 for the stream, and then another $5 for something else, and another $5 for something else, and another $5 for something. So I'm trying to basically milk all of my consumers in
100%.
this instance, all of my viewers.
But here's the thing. This is like what I don't think I'm sure he gets it, but and his point is like, the reason his point is weak is because, let's say I don't know how many players there are on Candy Crush. Let's say there's 100 million players on Candy Crush. If each person that plays Candy Crush paid $1, that's $100 million. Candy Crush already costs less than $100 million just to produce. I'm pretty sure it's just one dev could have made Candy Crush. It's already a massive profit, like return on investment. So yeah, the business model is fine. And the other thing is, because the game doesn't really like evolve, it just adds a few levels or whatever. It's not like you're gonna miss out if you play it in 2 years and 3 years when inflation goes back down or anything like that. So you can always get to play Candy Crush if you really want to, and you will always be a potential buyer.
To the max. So I turn you guys, the viewers, into consumers. That business model is not sustainable. It will eventually completely fucking blow out. Zcon Patreon is completely exclusive to itself. I don't mix the two at all. One of the reasons I don't.
I mean, I get what Alvin said. That's why, like, if I make a sub, bro, I like, for me, follower and a sub is the same thing. A sub is like, yes, thank you for the money and stuff, but like, I don't feel like I will have any special privileges for subs, or more so than followers, except that subs, like, it might be like at very rare situations, it would be sub only chat, which is like, if I see followers are being too toxic compared to subs, I would do like sub only chat, stuff like that. But as far as like privileges go, like emotes and all that stuff, I don't think I'll ever do subs have like special emotes that followers don't or something like that. I don't. It feels weird to me. It's like you're segregating people for no reason, for like arbitrary bullshit.
Mix the two is exactly for that. One of the reasons I don't have videos that sort of try to overly push people towards Patreon and shit like that is because I want things to exist and people can support where they want to support without forcing people into one place or another. Some streamers have started putting VODs behind a sub. I didn't even know you could fucking do that. I wouldn't, but I didn't know you could. I'm paying $5 to push Akko into opening his OnlyFans. I mean, I could. Quite an interesting chart on this exact topic. Okay, hold up. Let me see this statistical chart. Few users actually pay for Candy Crush and Co. King Digital Entertainment, maker of the hit game Candy Crush, filed for a $500 wins. You bastard! Thanks for tier sub. Did really appreciate that gifted sub. Actually, thank you, bro. Can we get some love in chat?
Only
Some love
fats.
in chat for wins and the gifted sub. Really appreciate it.
Not only fans, only fats.
Support. You guys are fucking rocking it. Fuck inflation. All right, Candy Crush filed for 500
Yeah,
million
fuck
IPO
inflation.
yesterday and a handful of data in its F1 filing. This was back in 2014. Few users actually pay for Candy Crush and Co. Monthly users and paying customers of. So the monthly unique players, monthly unique users, is going up. So I would expect, if you look at it, there's almost like zero payers over year. It's like 400,000 people, 700,000, 900. It is going up. So I would expect this number is much higher now. But consider that King makes a fuck ton of money for Activision Blizzard. I expect this expect this number to be a little higher than what it is now. On learning quick enough is that the market for live services is limited by definition. Whilst the single player market isn't, look at Babylon's Fall. No one played that because it's unpolished trash. Same thing with BF 2045. Sure, it started all right because of the BF name, but once people saw how shit it was, they quickly all left it. Same thing with the Avengers game. When publishers realize this, I think they'll stop focusing on these. Borgingo, you're absolutely correct. The live service gaming model, by design, has its own built-in limitations. People do not have time for every single live service game. There's simply not enough time in your day to play every single live service game. So by definition, if you go into live service, you either have to hope that you are the best live service game on the market, in other words, everyone plays your game and no one plays anyone else's game, or you have to figure out how to milk whatever player base you do end up getting.
But see, here's the thing. This is why WoW can do it. WoW is still technically number one, if not number two or three, on the MMORPG genre. I mean, like they can easily get people to play their game. Not easily, but it's like, and like they already have a consistent player base. Live service games for new games can be hard unless the game is like insanely amazing, which people are hoping for Ashes of Creation or the new Riot MMORPG. Honestly, I don't know how people plan on playing multiple MMORPGs at the same time, especially when two of them are gonna be new. They're not gonna release at the same time, obviously, but it's like, either way, it's like, let's say a year apart. In a year, man, if you're done with an MMORPG and you move on to another, in my opinion, that's a failed game as far as MMORPG goes. So how it is, especially like if Ashes you're done within a year when they have like 64 different combinations of classes or some shit. Like that.
But by its very nature, um, there is a limit to the audience that you can attract within a live service game. I, for
Yes.
example, hate whenever I see games going live service. One of my biggest fears is that the new Mass Effect is going to be live service. I don't want live service gaming. I want a single player game that takes me 20, 30, 40 hours to complete, and then I'm done. I've finished the game. I saw the story. I might go back eventually.
What I think would happen with games like this, their budgets are going to be very small and they're going to be very simplistic in order to not have too many expenses because their return on investment is actually really low. Look at the Vampires game that apparently became very popular. It's a good game, looks like shit, extremely low budget, but it is a good game, right? And hopefully there will be more games like that. But how many games like the Vampire game like the same budget that didn't make an impact and were actually dog shit, right? That are single player, obviously. And honestly, in my opinion, no game right now is truly single player. Because of Twitch, no game is single player. That's how I feel. Single player, the way I think about it is that you are completely removed from the outside world when you're playing this game, and everything you do only matters to you and stuff like that. The problem right now is with single player games, there are already guides out there. There's like already like the best in slot, how to make a build, how to not waste your time and stuff like that. Now there are games that are like, like, oh, this is like, you build your own character and it's fine, whatever. It's like, and yeah, maybe most times you would look at a guide. Like after your first one or two playthroughs, you're gonna look at a guide, which is fine. But it's like, let's say this Elden Ring, if they don't produce a DLC, are not gonna sell many more copies. Everyone who wanted to buy Elden Ring pretty much already got it.
But I'm done for now.
Not saying it's a
Right?
dead game or anything but the
First of all,
numbers
Risk, no
speak for
one said that
themselves.
Babylon's Fallen Avengers failed because they were live service. That's not what we said. The point
No.
that I think he was making there is these games are incredibly expensive to make.
Yep.
And if they're not good, their failure is a hell of a lot worse than that of a single player RPG game that takes 20, 30 hours. Because all of those servers for Battlefield is still running. The servers still exist, they're just empty. Those servers cost money, they have to be run. The game code, in order to have this many players playing, is a lot more expensive than just making a single player campaign. So at the core of it, live service gaming fails much harder than what single player games. Because if it's just a single player game, people will take a shot. People will give it a try. There's games that got terrible reviews that I've played in the past just to see what it's like. Just to see what it's like. And maybe I like it, maybe I don't. But with live service games, because it's a live service game, you're probably not going to give it a go if you think it failed. Because what's the point? So yeah, I do think there's an inherent flaw that is coming for these companies. I just don't know how long before it hits. I don't know how long before it hits. Candy Crush revenue 2020 1.19, so 1.1 billion effectively. Alex, you see, it
1.2
made a
billion,
lot of
yeah.
money. It makes a lot of money.
Of course it does, yeah.
How are you doing? It's
And you don't
not
need a lot of
bad.
people to pay. Yeah. Will Sword and Dragonflight be any good? No. I mean, the story is never like the main. Aside from like the Arthas story, which was built in Warcraft 3, no story has been good in World of Warcraft. And honestly, if you didn't play Warcraft 3, like Wrath of the Lich King was not a good story either. All right, that's the video. There it is. All right.